Good morning, everybody. Oh, I can't see the chats. Give me 1 second, guys. Want to make sure I can see all the comments on my side. Good morning, everybody. Okay, let me just turn this off. I think you guys can hear me okay. I see the levels pretty good on my end. Let me know. Give me a thumbs up if the sound's good. Well, it's great to wake up on Sunday and see a bunch of you guys already here. Thank you, thank you. Thank you for joining me. Good morning. I appreciate you guys tuning in, especially since we just had a Sunday show last Sunday. So this is kind of 2 Sundays back to back, which is not usually common for me. But hey, it's all good. Extra time. So this is show number 57 already. I can't believe we're almost up to 60 shows. I don't remember any of them. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoy the shows. I'll keep them going as long as I can because I enjoy the Sundays. I really do. And of course, I like to keep track of you guys and make sure you guys are not going crazy on the spending sprees, you know, buying all kinds of crazy gear. We wouldn't want that, would we? Let me take a couple of moments to say good morning to everybody that's already here. Richard, good morning. Jack, Alan, Ed. Who else? Wayne McDonald, hi. James, Paul, Gospel of Mark, Vox Guitars Rock. You know, all the familiar faces. Glad to see you guys. Seth, how's it going, Seth? Welcome. Cohen, Jeff, Randy, Dan, Fat Philosopher. If I missed anybody, I'll catch up to you guys. Don't worry about that. If you guys are new and you haven't actually participated in one of these live Sunday shows before, type new in the chat so I know who you are and I could welcome you. It's always a great pleasure to have some new faces, and you know, whenever there's new faces, new names, it means there's going to be the words getting out, you know, and that's what we want. Matt's here, Rich is here, awesome, great. So if you guys don't already know what this is all about, I'm sure you already do because you've been around. But for any of the newcomers, basically, Addicted to Gear is a show where we just basically enjoy talking about gear. Guitars, amplifiers, pedals, accessories, you know, whatever is actually associated to enjoying the art form of playing guitar. Speaking of guitars, I got the Suhr guitar out today. I don't play this guitar as much as I should, so I figured today I would take it out and see how it's holding up in terms of tuning and whatnot. It's a great guitar. I love it. Obviously, Strat style guitar. A few modern appointments, locking tuners. Of course, there's a humbucker in the bridge position. Other than that, it's pretty standard. I mean, there's some natural. It's not even binding. It's just, you know, natural wood here exposed. Back of it is pretty standard, except for the carve over here. And a little bit of an angle here, but it's a great guitar. The thing I love most about this guitar is the neck. The neck on it is fantastic, and that's the main reason why I got this guitar. There was a minute where I was considering possibly going and swapping out the humbucker single coil configuration to 2 humbuckers. I didn't do it though because it would be a little bit of work. I would have to change out the pick guard. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of the humbucker single. Honestly, I'm not. But I'm kind of, you know, I'm getting used to it. But I think eventually I might actually, there's actually a nice set of Thornbuckers available that I might just grab. But then I would have to get Suhr to make a new pick guard for this guitar. I'm not confident that they would still have the pattern for this particular one, and I would hate to make new holes. Although I did contact them at one point and they said that they did. So I don't know, but then I would have to kind of change the pots, rewire everything. I don't know if it's worth the hassle, you know. The bridge position pickup sounds great, and I use that most of the time. So I don't know. I'll think about it a little more. I'll see. But yeah, it's a great playing guitar. The bridge pickup definitely has a lot of bite to it. So we'll be talking about that a little bit more as well in a little bit. How are you guys doing? I mean, the show's about you guys, not about me. So I wanted to make sure I don't fall behind in the chats today. Today's going to be an hour, guys. Last time we were talking for almost 2.5 hours. Not that it wasn't fun, but I think we're going to try to limit the shows to about an hour, because I know you guys are doing other things on Sunday with your families, you know, and 10 to 11 o'clock, manageable. So we'll see if we can keep it in that range as much as possible. So the first thing I want to ask you guys is, of course, like usual, have any of you purchased any new gear? Are any of you looking at new gear? I know some of you have, because I get comments that come to me through the form of emails or comments in the videos. So, but if you haven't already contacted us, let us know what you've got. This is the time to, spread the word with all our friends here. Richard says, my wife said you don't have enough guitars. Or don't you have enough guitars? Luckily, I was able to avoid the question and I bought an amp instead. Yeah, that's the other way of handling this. When the wife starts picking on how many guitars you have, it's time to start buying amplifiers. I only have 4. Yeah, I'm still considering another one. We'll talk about that later. How are you guys doing with the snow situation? I know that there was a couple of friends that I have in Texas that have been snowed in lately and have not been able to get around easily. I think that's kind of resolving itself right now, but I know the weather's been crazy in certain areas. So if you're snowed in, then good time to take out a guitar and play, I think. Let's see who else is here today. Vox Guitars says, I haven't worked since March, so no new gear for me for a while. Yeah, that sucks, man. I hope that, is that related to COVID? It probably is, I would imagine. So yeah, not a good thing. Not a good thing. Definitely challenging whenever you have to try and find a new job in this scenario, for sure. But don't despair, man. I'm sure something will pan out for you very soon. Hey, Jamel. Hey, learned quite a bit about the Dean line. Are you considering getting a Dean guitar, Jamel? Is that it? Dan says, bought a Sterling silo for a mod project. Going to drop in a True Velvet and FS1. The Sterling guitars are pretty good. I used to have a Sterling Music Man Sterling way back, and I liked it a lot. It's one of my early videos, probably over 10 years ago. But if you go back into the blurry videos, and you'll probably find it. I think at that point I had a Marshall. What did I have? A Marshall 900, I think it was. Combo that I was playing through. I remember playing a few Rush licks in that video. Jamel says we survived the cold storm without major damage to our home. That's great news, man. It's great news. We were expecting snow yesterday. These originally said a couple of centimeters. We got a lot more than a couple of centimeters, man. It's like quite a bit. I was basically shoveling off the top of my car shelter, because I have a car shelter and the weight was getting too heavy, and it was I'm always afraid that thing's gonna collapse. So I had to basically pull off, I'd say, at least a foot and a half, maybe a little bit more in some areas of snow on there. So we did that. That's always fun. You know, you come home and you want to get stuff done, and you see this, and there goes the rest of your afternoon. But it's all good. It's all good. Alan says no new gear in this year. Prices are too high in the UK. Imports cost a lot more thanks to Brexit. I've noticed the prices going up in general. Yeah, I don't know. I've been considering getting some stuff, but I'm thinking maybe I'll wait. I don't know. I don't know if the prices will come back down. That's the thing, you know. Sometimes you wait and then the prices just continue going up, kind of like the housing market in my area. Rico says, Tony, a couple weeks ago you teased a new gear reveal. Did I miss it? No, you didn't miss it. I haven't done it. I haven't released the video yet. I'm still working on it. I actually recorded part of the video the other day. Wasn't really happy with the way it turned out because of the lighting, so I figured I'd do it again. I wanna try and get it right, and should be coming out this week. I'm probably gonna finish it up today if I can. But thanks for remembering, Rico. I think Jamel was referring to my Dave Mustaine leaving for Gibson. Yeah, there's a lot of chatter about that on the forums. Like, I'm not a big Megadeth fan. I'm not really big on that. It's not my style of music. I know Dave is quite a popular musician, popular guitarist, and he has quite a following. And yeah, I think people, I don't know, the impression I get, and you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, but at least with the chatter going on the forums, it's pretty much of a mixed bag. And I don't know if it's because they just don't like the models or they don't like the idea of Dave leaving for Gibson. I did watch one video where he was talking to a member of Gibson, and it seemed like it didn't seem like a happy a happy video. Ah, here comes trouble. There she goes, just barging in again. Boy, give her some love. All right. So the video didn't seem to be like very, I don't know, I got the impression that it was kind of forced, and that there's still some bad blood there, because Dave, although he said he was happy, and you know, Gibson was happy to have him, he was referring to a couple of things, and he mentioned Jackson and the fact that he had a Gibson, but he sprayed the headstock, and I don't know. I'm not really sure how much love there actually is there, and how much of it is just a, you know, just for the money. I'm not really sure. Hey, Gary, South Carolina. I'm sure it's nice there. You mentioned you know, areas in the States that had some bad weather. Carolina usually is good, except for the hurricane, not the hurricanes, but the tornadoes. Some hurricanes too, I think. But yeah, strange. I know it's a strange thing to see. I understand the idea behind people getting upset when their guitar icon switches brands. You know, like if Eddie Van Halen, like Eddie Van Halen is a big fan. I'm a big fan of Eddie Van Halen, and he's throughout his career he's been, you know, flip flopping. I mean, originally his guitar was like no brand, and then he eventually, you know, he went to, there was Music Man, there was Peavey. Then, you know, he teamed up with Fender for his amplifiers and his EVH line of guitars. And so it's like, it's a little bit, that one was a little different because Eddie was kind of always flip-flopping. But I understand, like, if you're, you know, like, for example, if Jimmy Page all of a sudden would stop playing his Gibson and go with Ibanez or something, you know, it would seem like weird. Hey, Krinar. Yeah, it's been a while. Thank you for tuning in. Man, I sprayed some of this stuff today, and I shouldn't have done it. I don't know if you guys. I usually, you guys are gonna laugh, but you know this stuff. Do you guys have this stuff? It's called IV poo. I'm not advertising it, guys, but this stuff is like so potent. You know, this is basically stuff that you spray after you poop, right? But I don't use it for that. I use it to sometimes I get gear or I get like cases, and it comes from a smoker, and I don't smoke. And when you open up the case, it smells of like nicotine and cigarette smoke, and it's terrible because it's all the way into the fabric of the cases, and it just makes your guitar stink. So what I do is I spray some of this stuff. This is like, I don't know, 1000% like concentrated stink. I mean, it smells good. It's lavender, but it's like potent, right? So sometimes I just like spray a little bit, you know, because my dog sometimes is around, and you know, you get that wet dog smell when she comes in from the rain and stuff. Man, I sprayed like just a little spray before, and I'm dying here. It's like I'm getting intoxicated with the stuff. I'd open a window if I could, but I can't because it's all snowed in. Rico says, Mustaine lives near me. I keep hoping to run into him at the grocery store. Yeah, maybe when he's picking up some celery or something like that. Paul says, Tony, everyone on other sites is getting into a cheap Kramer, and go figure the Vigatrem is a big deal as usual months after we see it here. Well, I'm not surprised. I mean, it's a perfect combination. The Vigatrem, the the Kramer Beretta Special. It's a match made in heaven. You know, it's interesting to see people are catching up. But yeah, a lot of people gave me flack for that because they're like, hey, why would you put like such an expensive trem system on a very inexpensive guitar? Just because the guitar is inexpensive does not make it bad. It's actually a very well put together guitar that I really like. So why not make it even better if you can, you know, and make it something that you'd play regularly? You know, for me, the Kramer Beretta, the weak point, 2 weak points in that guitar is the bridge and the pickup. And the one I purchased already had a Duncan Jeff Beck pickup in it. So the only logical other thing to upgrade was the bridge. And the Vigatrem was a direct drop-in. The reason I went with that one is I didn't have to re-drill the top or anything like that. It's a direct drop-in. So, you know, no-brainer for me. The easiest solution. Baking soda is a good odor defeater. Yeah, it's true. It's true. One thing that I can tell you guys, if ever you want to get like your guitars that smell of smoke smelling better, take a dryer sheet, like the ones that your wife puts in the dryer to get rid of static cling. Take one of those and put it in your case. Just leave it in there. Don't put it on your guitar. Like, put it on the side, but that will freshen up the smell of your case, and it'll be nice. The guys at the jam will be wondering why your guitar smells so good. There was only one time when I bought a guitar that was really bad. The case, I think, had mold in it. I think the guy probably kept it in a dark, damp environment. And man, the work I had to do. I basically sprayed that thing down with the bleach and put it out in the sun, and I did all kinds of stuff to try and get it to get that stuff off of it, because nobody wants to have mold. Anyways, I finally did get it out, and I think I ended up selling the case eventually and just be done with it, But yeah, so Dave is in the spotlight, so we'll see how that pans out. Seth wants to know what strings are on the Suhr and how's the setup on a 1 to 10 scale. Oh, okay. So you mean setup from Suhr? or the setup that I made, that I did, because I usually set up my guitars. The thing with this guitar, first of all, the strings I believe on this are Ernie Ball hybrid slinkies, because that's usually what I use, and I'm pretty sure that's what I have here. As far as the setup, like from the factory, I didn't buy this guitar new, so I couldn't really comment as to how it's set up from the factory, but I'm pretty sure they're well set up. I haven't had any issues with this guitar. I don't think I had to do much. I mean, the neck has been pretty stable. I haven't really touched it in a long time. Generally, I think maybe just the relief has to be adjusted slightly with the temperature. The only issue I had with this guitar was the actual truss rod. When I actually went to adjust the truss rod, it was kind of like stuck. Like I was putting so much pressure trying to turn that thing that my Allen key was almost bending. So I was concerned that it had seized up and I would break the neck if I would try to loosen it up. But I actually contacted Suhr, and I actually got a direct email from John himself. And he said that sometimes it does happen that if you don't turn the truss rod regularly, and I didn't have any reason to do it because the neck was solid the way it was, that sometimes they do seize up. And he's like, don't worry. He's like, just put pressure on it, loosen it up. And he's like, if you break the neck, which he didn't think what happened, he's like, I'll send you a new one. He's like, the neck is guaranteed for life. So that kind of reassured me. But it was scary, man. I was putting a heck of a lot of pressure on that thing, and eventually it did loosen up. So I took off the little Allen, the nuts. I took that out. There's a couple of washers. I took those out. I greased them up, put everything back in, and haven't had a reason to use them. So I'm assuming it's still working properly, but the guitar plays like butter. The neck is really where the money is. And I always say if Suhr would sell these necks separately, they'd make a killing, because I'd put this neck on all my guitars. It's that good. Gospel of Mark is asking a question here. Tony, do you ever sell multiple guitars to get one guitar? I'm considering selling a few to get a PRS. I don't have a core PRS at the moment, and I'm missing it. Yeah, I have no problem selling multiple guitars to get another guitar that I like. Absolutely. Why? I mean, why would you keep a couple of guitars that you're not really playing all that much when you can get one guitar that would be a keeper, as long as that guitar is the one, obviously, and you're not giving away something that you'll regret. I mean, I think we've all done that. End up giving away something that at the end we're like, oh man, should have kept it, either for sentimental reasons or maybe you realize how good it was after the fact. But yeah, I usually don't have a problem. I always am considering the lineup and which guitars I would have available if something should pop up on the used market that I could somehow just flip to generate some quick cash. Quicksilver agrees. He says, me too. I'm selling a few MIMs. I said M&M there for a second. Made in Mexico's to get an American Professional 2 Telecaster or Strat. Actually, who am I kidding? Both. That's the way to do it, man. When you can't decide, and I'm not joking about this, guys. This is something I'm dead serious about. If you have two guitars that come up that are like great guitars that you're considering, and they don't pop up on the used market, for example, very often, grab both. And I'm not joking when I say this, because it gives you the opportunity to live with them for a while and see which one is really the keeper, and then get rid of the other one, No harm in doing that, especially if you know you can flip it and make your money back. If the deal is good enough, you have the buffer to be able to do that, you know? And that has saved me many times when I thought a guitar was, you know, the one. You live with it for a while, and then after the honeymoon phase is over and you had a chance to play it through your gear and your amplifiers, you realize maybe it doesn't play all that well. And, you know, it's a lot of money to have tied up into a guitar if it's just going to be in the closet. Quicksilver says, sadly, the colors that I like the most have rosewood necks, and I would prefer maple necks on them. Dark Night and Miami Blue. Yeah, I understand that too. Yeah, I like rosewood. I have a few of both, but yeah, I understand that. But you can always swap out the neck. Just, I understand when you buy something expensive like that, you don't want to necessarily turn it into a parts caster and keep, you know, depreciate the value. Rico says, Tony, I traded for a Gibson Les Paul that smelled like an ashtray. I bought an ozone ionizer machine. It fixed 90% of the smell. Yeah, I've seen some of those little ozonators, I guess they're called. They're like small devices. Some of them are actually portable. You can put them into your case, just run them for a couple of hours, close the case, and it does help, I think. It's good. That's a good tip. Gary says 63 degrees now, calling for 74. Well, we were up to +4 last week. That's Celsius, right? +4. And we were all happy because we thought, that's it. You know, summer's coming. And then we got hit over the head with another dumping of snow. That's the thing with this guitar, however, is that you can't really pull up all that much. If I would put the Vega trim on this, I'd be able to pull up. But as it is, it's it kind of like, at a certain point, just hits the top. Rico says, I have 5 guitars on consignment and I just bought a new Les Paul Classic from Trology. The classics are nice. I like the classics a lot. I don't know why they're not as favorable as the standards, but some of them look very nice. Paul says, for bad smells, the best thing are eucalyptus branches. Last for months with zero chemical smell. or how about vanilla? The thing is, I mean, it hides the smell, but if you have like mold, you want to get rid of that stuff, man. I'm going to tell you a funny story. My dad used to work at Cadbury when I was a kid. Cadbury is the chocolate company, right? And he used to work there, and every night, like he used to work sometimes the night shifts and that, and every time he'd come home, he'd smell of vanilla. Like, that's the thing, the most vivid memory I have as a kid. He would smell of vanilla because he would be working with vanilla. And at that time, I guess vanilla was way less expensive because I guess he had accumulated vanilla beans. No joke. He had, like, with a rubber band, he had wrapped about this many vanilla beans, like, you know, stalks of vanilla, with a rubber band, and he put it in the glove compartment of his Ford. And he used it as an air freshener because it actually would heat up in the sun and it would give off a wonderful vanilla smell. You know how much this much vanilla costs today? this much vanilla, I think I was at Costco the other day. There was like a glass cigar vial with, I think, 1 or 2 stalks of vanilla in there, and I think it was like $14. So if I had all that vanilla today, man, I'd be laughing. Vox says, Vox Guitars Rock says, my Les Paul was plecked from the factory and it's not that good. I have one that's plecked too. It was okay. I mean, it doesn't necessarily solve all the issues. Rico says, my new Gibson Les Paul was plecked from the factory. It plays amazing. First guitar I played that had been plecked. The thing that I found with the Gibsons, the plecking is great. However, I don't know on why they do this, but on some models they actually glue in the nut with some kind of crazy glue or something. Because sometimes if you want to get that nut out, like I actually upgraded the nut on one of my Les Pauls to bone because I prefer bone. They put the Graph Tech stuff in now, I think, but they glue it in so you can't take it out. Like usually when you want to replace a nut, all you have to do is gently tap it on the sides. You loosen up the glue, and it's usually like a drop of wood glue is enough. And then you can easily pull that out. But sometimes if ever you guys are interested in upgrading the nut on your Gibson, check first, because sometimes you have to grind that stuff out to be able to remove it. And it's not an easy thing, and you risk damaging the fretboard or the finish if you don't have the tools to do it. And I don't know why they do that. But anyways, even with the Graph Tech nut in, I was still getting issues with the tuning on the G string. That's just the design of the headstock. So there's not a lot you can do. The bone nut was cut a little bit better and actually worked a little bit better. But these are things that are inherent problems with Gibson guitars. So if you guys haven't already subscribed to the channel, please subscribe, especially if you're new to the channel. I think we definitely want to have some new faces around, and if you guys are interested in catching all the videos that I produce, then definitely hit the subscribe button. Also, don't forget to follow me on Instagram, because believe it or not, I do a lot more playing. Well, not a lot more playing, but I do some playing on guitars that I review on Instagram. Just little clips, because I don't get demonetized, so I can actually play riffs that you guys recognize and not have to worry about Instagram, shutting me down or penalizing me for doing that. So sometimes, you guys are like, hey, we'd like to see you play the guitar more or whatever. Well, check out Instagram, because that's sometimes that's where I post those videos. So if you don't follow me there, you won't see them. I'm going to tell you a funny story, guys, that has nothing to do with guitar. This morning, I'm in bed, right? And I'm sleeping, and I think it's the crack of 6. We have a radio that goes on automatically, almost like an alarm clock, but it's very loud, and it's downstairs. So I'm upstairs sleeping, and all of a sudden I start hearing music. And the thing with this alarm clock is if you don't shut it off, it gets louder and louder till you shut it off. So I woke up this morning with a start, and the first song I hear was excuse me, I need a glass of water, I think, here. But I hear the line, blinded by the light, wrapped up like a douche, the runner in the night. So I'm hearing that line, wrapped up like a douche. And it's playing it over and over again. And I can't fall back asleep now because now I'm awake, right? So my wife goes down to turn it off. I think one of my kids must have left it on or something. And then I keep thinking of all the other misheard lyrics, because that is a famously misheard lyric, right? How many of you hear that line in your head when you listen to that song? I'm sure that's not what he's saying, right? But I thought that was funny. And then I kept playing in my head all the other misheard lyrics that I've heard over the years, like, Purple Haze, Excuse me while I kiss this guy. You know, things like that are pretty funny. There's a few other ones, like Big Old Jed Had a Light On. That's one that I always hear when I listen to those songs. The Springsteen song, I hear Trap Devil in a Freeze House. Trap Devil in a Freeze House. And once you hear it that way, you can't stop hearing it that way. There's a few others, like, what was the other one? The Rolling Stones, Beast of Burden. Sometimes I hear, don't wanna eat no pizza burning. And that's just the way he pronounces his words. You know, he mumbles a lot, quite a bit, on his songs. And it's just so funny. Then there's the Eurythmics one. Sweet dreams are made of cheese. You know, these are things that I've heard. And every time I hear the song, it just makes me laugh. I don't know if you guys have any misheard lyrics that you didn't realize were not the correct lyrics, but those are a few that I've heard over and over again in my head. So this morning I'm lying in bed trying to fall back asleep and just playing these songs in my head. So that's how my brain works sometimes. So getting back to you guys, what else have you guys looked at in terms of gear? Anything else? Anybody else made an acquisition? Cohen says the body of my guitar is made from the leftovers of an IKEA kitchen countertop. Those are the best ones, Cohen. Those are the best ones. I'm actually working on a few projects, as I mentioned last time as well. Italian Dreams are always made of cheese, exactly. My brother used to think Jovi Bad Medicine said, "You love is like Sam Kinison." Sam Kinison is what I need. Whoa, shake it up. Yeah, that's funny. It's just crazy how our brains work sometimes, you know. So I have a couple of projects I'm working on as well. Nothing new in the works as in terms of stuff that I've purchased. But there's a few guitar projects I'm working on. I'll show you some pictures. Quicksilver says, are all Gibsons plecked or only by request and by the dealer? I think they're not all plecked. I think some lines are plecked. And I don't know if it's a dealer request thing, or if they just have a certain lines that they just automatically pleck. I would assume that plecking is quicker and more accurate. So I don't know if they're doing it on the more expensive lines or not. That's a good question. I don't have an answer for that. If anybody else knows, pipe in, please. And if you guys have any other specific questions, don't be shy. That's what I'm here for. I appreciate the questions. How are the kits going? Well, they're going well. Actually, I wanted to show you the purple Telecaster I'm working on, but I actually sprayed some lacquer this morning. It's going slow. I have to admit it's going slow because I can't do it in one setting. My wife does not like the smell of lacquer in the house, and that stuff really does smell bad. And usually when I spray in the summertime, I usually leave the doors open slightly so I get some ventilation. In the winter, it's not a good idea to do that because it drops the temperature too much. And then when you're spraying lacquer, it doesn't flow as well. Lacquer should be kind of a certain temperature to flow nicely. So I only spray when the wife is not around. This morning I gave the neck a couple of coats of lacquer and the body as well. So I wanted to show it to you, but it's still wet. So maybe I can pull up a picture here. Let me see. I don't know if I can share it. You picked the time to leave me loose wheel. That's another one, right? Here, let me see if I can, how does this thing work? Can you guys see that? Can you see that guitar? I don't know, man. I'm trying to figure out how. Here, let's see here. Current application. There we go. Can you see that? Am I in the way? Let me try to move that over a little. Put it on this side. There's two of them there that I want to show you. So do you see those two guitars on your screen? Give me a yes or a no. I can't. Sometimes I can't tell what you guys are seeing there. Okay, so the one on the left is the purple Telecaster. I move the guitar to the left. Do you see it better? So that's what's hanging in my garage at the moment. It's a purple Sparkle. And this is a custom color that was made specifically for me. And so I'll give you a little background. So the guitar body is from Great Lakes Custom Color, and it's a 100-year-old reclaimed pine body, and that is basically a pine, like an old, I don't know where they got the pine from, but it's 100-year-old pine. And I went with pine because I wanted to have something lighter and something that would ding easily, believe it or not. That's usually counterintuitive, but it's basically the I had a little sample of that color. I don't know if you guys, way back I showed you this. I don't know if you, so basically both, this color was made by Oxford Supply, and you can get this in Canada if you're in Canada. Oxford Supply. The other colors that I'm using, the other lacquers that I'm using, come from Great Lakes Custom Color, also in Canada, as well as the body. So shout out to both of those companies. Awesome. I'm so happy I finally found somebody that can make me the color. This was the color sample that I got from Great Lakes Custom Color. It was also a purple, but not exactly what I was looking for. This is the color of the guitar that you're seeing on the screen here. It's called a Royal Purple, and it has sparkle in it. And that's what it's looking like so far. Yeah. So I'm going to be putting in a maple neck on this guitar. I have it lined up, and it's going to be one of the projects that I'm working on, and hopefully I can finish relatively soon. So I'm at the point now where I'm spraying the clear, and I don't want to rush that part, because if you mess up the clear, you're kind of stuck, because you're going to be like, it's very delicate. So it's better to go slowly and get the clear going the way you want it to go. So I spray a couple and wait, spray a couple and wait, and then I give it a couple of weeks to harden enough before I try any kind of polishing, because I don't want to ruin it. And in the meantime, that'll give me time to wait for the stuff that I ordered from StewMac to arrive. I have most of the other hardware and stuff that I need for the build, but I ordered some stuff from StewMac that have not arrived yet, and it's been already over 2 weeks. So that's a little bit of a pain, but that's basically where I'm at. And so that's one of the projects. You can see the other project behind that one, which is the 335 that I have hanging on the wall there. And that's something that I've been working on as well, and I'm gonna finish eventually, but it's not there yet. And then this guy, let me just close this one and move this guy for you here. This is the next project I want to work on. This is not my guitar. This is somebody else's photograph. But what I'm thinking of doing is, I have a Strat body, which is this guy, that I want to turn into something like that. And the reason is because this body is extremely light. Paulownia wood, Paulownia. I think it's called Paulownia wood. Anyways, it's extremely light. There was a couple of like little defects in this body. So what I want to do is I want to turn this one into kind of a stealth EVH model, because I've always wanted to do an EVH style guitar. Let me just close this down here and go back to the regular view. So I've always wanted to do an EVH style guitar, but the red, white, and black is kind of, has a lot of weight behind it, and I don't know if I want to have that particular pattern on the guitar, because if you go that route, you kind of have to make it look like the real thing, and then you have to get the right neck, and there's a lot of involved. So I thought I'd make my own version, keep it simple, keep the neck that I have. The neck is a very nice neck that I like, and it has a rosewood fretboard to it. I have all black hardware, and I can fix the imperfections in the body and paint it that way, and I think it's gonna look killer, man. The body, wasn't the greatest. It's kind of like a very budget body. It actually had a big hole in the middle of the ear that I patched up right over here, all the way through. You can see right through the cavity. I'm not finished working on it. By the time I am, though, it's going to be sweet. And I'm going to plug the holes when I repaint it, so that I'll be able to put a brand new pickguard on it. It'll probably be just a black pickguard. I'm thinking of going with one humbucker, one volume tone, and that's it, with the stealth paint job on it. And I think it's going to be crazy sweet. So that's another project I have lined up. So eventually I'll show you what that looks like. I mean, I have a lot of projects lined up, guys. I started getting myself lined up for these projects as soon as COVID started, because I do have a lot of parts that I have left over from builds and stuff. So I pretty much have like a bin full of parts that I can use to at least get the guitar up and running, and then optimize later on, So that's kind of what I have in the works, guys. And it helps me keep the chops up to, fresh in terms of working on guitars, because I really do like working on guitars. I almost like working on guitars more than practicing. Well, definitely more than practicing, because I don't practice enough. But yeah, it's a great hobby. Rico says, I just sent you an email with a photo of my black 5150. Cool, Rico, thanks. I'm going to take a look at that. Gotta stay busy in the winter. Yeah, man. You go crazy if you don't. The Nye has a good question. He says, Tony, have you ever had an issue with new strings? Bought a 3-pack Diodario acoustic strings, and the G string became muted, did not ring clear. The only time that's happened to me is when there's an issue with the wrapping on the strings. And usually when that happens, it's going to break. What ends up happening is like the wrapping stretch, and they mute the string from vibrating. And every time you start hearing something like that on a wrap string, it usually breaks shortly after. So I wouldn't necessarily use that. You can always contact them and say, hey, I got a pack of strings with a dud, and they probably will send you a new pack of strings. Paul says, plecking tells the operator the condition of the frets, etc. The operator chooses what to fix or leave. Removal of metal will cause the frets to wear out prematurely. The operator makes the difference. Yeah, I'm sure. And these plec machines are like $100,000. They're not cheap machines. They come from Germany, most of them. Or now probably there's other companies making them as well. But I think if you're dealing with a guitar that has stainless steel frets like this one, it would be great to have them plecked, because working on stainless steel frets to level them out is no fun if you have to do that on your own. because stainless is really a lot harder to work with. But you know, regular frets, I guess it's a good thing. But I mean, if you know how to work your guitars, you can probably fix any minor imperfections yourself as well. Frank says, I have so many extra parts, I'm building a Firebird. Awesome. That's one guitar I never had and never owned. But they've always looked cool. Especially now. Like I'm very heavily into Rebel Sons. Rebel Sons. I'm thinking Rebel like in David Bowie. I think this smell is getting to my brain with the lacquer. I meant to Rival Sons, Rebel Sons, and I think he plays a Firebird as well with slide in the. It's a pretty cool guitar, but I don't know if I'd bond with it. It's kind of like a weird shape, and the neck joint is very like low, kind of almost. I'm gonna say something like an SG. You know, like the SG joint is like way up here, so it's kind of a different feel. But I don't think I've ever tried a Firebird. That's something I might have to check out. Cool Tunes Made Easy. Hey, welcome. Rico wants to know how cold winters affect your guitars. Rico, it's more the dryness than the cold, because I don't usually keep my guitars anywhere where they become too cold. But if let's say you're in a basement and it's humid, then definitely that affects the wood. Like you know the doors in your house. You know, in the summertime they might stick because they expand. In the winter, the wood dries out quite a bit because of the heating that you're using. You might have a lot more dryness in your house. So if you're not humidifying your house properly, then you can get a lot more shifting in the wood. I tend to try and keep the humidity levels at home at the right level so I don't get too much. And that's often when you'll see like fret sprout on the necks as well. So if you have some guitars and you notice that you're getting a fret sprout where the frets are like becoming scratchy, that usually is an indicator that your humidity levels are not at the right, the place they should be. So maybe consider keeping your guitars in a humidified environment, even if you just get a small humidifier, a corner humidifier in the room where you keep your guitar. Especially acoustic guitars are more susceptible to all of this. That's basically what you have to look out for. Gary says, love purple. Yeah, me too, Gary. I can't wait to get that finished, man. It's going to be nice. I think it's going to be really nice. I have my eye on a couple of pickups as well. Charles, hi from New Jersey. Gary says, gotta run, catch the rest of the on the return. Thanks for tuning in. Gotta love the harmonics. Yeah, Rich, I run a small humidifier during the winter months. That's the right way of doing it. Yeah, especially if your guitars are very expensive acoustic guitars, because you don't want the tops to crack. You know, you don't want the bracing inside to buckle and all that kind of stuff. Then you're gonna start having problems. But yeah. So guys, we're almost at the top of an hour, and you guys haven't been asking me all that many questions. So I don't know, everybody's quiet. I think someone had asked me earlier on a comment if I had purchased the Marshall Plexi Studio yet. I did not. There you go, Jeff. Jeff, you read my mind. Yeah, I didn't order it yet. I'm trying to evaluate in my own kind of strange way whether or not I want to go for it. I can tell you I have been watching a truckload of videos, as many as I can on YouTube on the amplifier, as many as I could find, and I keep looking to see if there's any new ones as well. The crazy thing is that a lot of these videos are not the best at determining whether an amplifier sounds the way you want it to sound. They basically, how can I put this? The videos that use IR simulations, to me, are kind of useless because they don't sound the way they would sound in a room. And so I try to not watch those videos, and I try and watch a video where it's either an amateur, YouTuber using, something like an iPhone, or at least somebody that's miking up a cabinet. Because otherwise you can't really tell. All the other videos that I've watched where they're playing through IRs, simulations, it doesn't do it for me. Like if I had to make a buying decision on that, I probably would not buy the amp. But if you watch videos where the guy's cranking the amplifier and, just a raw video, that's where you can really see and hear how it sounds. And those are the ones that are giving me like wood, So based on those videos, like last night, I think I fell asleep watching those videos. I think I was watching them so late into the evening that my cell phone actually hit me in the forehead at one point because I was dozing off watching those videos. But it's been kind of festering in my brain, and I think I'm leaning towards yes, but I don't know when. So we'll see. But you guys will be the first to know. Jeff says, I'm a sucker. All the talk last week sent me amp shopping. And Jeff, did you buy anything? Did you consider anything? What were you shopping for? Couple of questions coming in. All right, cool. So Rich says, what are the winning lotto numbers? I don't know because I don't have them. I did play the lotto and we won, I think $20 and a couple of free tickets. So not much. But Rich, man, I came close once. With the same group of friends that I played this time, at one point we got 5 numbers. 5 out of the 6, man. And that would have been a sweet day, except, when you get 5 out of 6 numbers, you don't get much. That's the funny thing. Is like, if the pot is, let's say, 30 million, you think, man, I got 5 out of the 6. What are the odds that you're going to get 5 out of 6 numbers? It's like very, very rare that you're going to be able to get 5 out of 6 numbers. So you figured, hey, I should at least get half of the pot, right? You don't get even nothing near that. I think we ended up getting like, between all of us, I think we got like, I don't know, $1,000, $1,500 each or something like that. Because we had to split it, right? Peanuts, man. What a scam. Anyway, they say lightning rarely strikes twice in the same place. So maybe that's it. Maybe I won't ever win one of these lotteries. You know what they say, you're a winner every week if you don't play. Did you try the Tone Master? So, Cristiano was asking me this. I did not try it because I haven't been in shops. There's been, I've been wanting to try it, and I haven't really had the opportunity to visit many shops because of COVID. So I haven't had the opportunity. I've been considering renting one, but a lot of the places around here don't even rent them. So, I have to wait till things open up a little bit more before I can go and try it out. But I am curious to hear what they sound like. I do have a Fender Supersonic, so I don't know if, comparing with the Supersonic, if I'd like it more or not. But I am curious. Frank wants to know if I ever tried the Kemper. I have not tried the Kemper. And that's another thing that I've been curious about. As I mentioned in previous videos, I'm a little bit hesitant to jump into the rabbit hole with Kempers and Axe effects because I was considering getting an Axe effects at one point. because yeah, they're expensive, but a good amplifier is almost the same cost as an Axe-Fx, right? Or a Kemper. The problem is I know myself, even with the little units that I have laying around here, like the the Hotone or the new X1 or other ones that I've tried. As soon as I get one of those devices, I go crazy trying to tweak and tweak and tweak to the point where I become obsessive with the sound, and it's enough to drive you crazy. You know what I mean? So in that regards, I feel like it's a great tool for recording. If you're recording and you want to have access to like all the different amps, all the different effects, great. As far as playing live though, I don't know how practical it would be for the stuff that I do. So I prefer just to get like a head, bring it with me, plug it into the cabinet that they have there, bring my pedal board, and keep it simple, But I definitely see the attraction to these things, and I'd love to have one. I mean, I would love to have one, but I don't know if it would replace the amplifiers for me anyway. Cristiano also says that's why proper reviews where people talk about impressions in depth are quite helpful rather than just demos. I agree with you, man. And it's like I always get heck for my videos because people are like, you talk too much. It's like we don't want to hear you talking, just play. And like I don't mind just playing. I mean, I've considered just switching the format to my reviews where I just play and there's no talking whatsoever. But again, like I feel like if you don't know how the thing was recorded, what you're playing through, what the signal chain is, how it's been set up for the recording, you can't really understand. And I've done some, what I consider better recordings and some pretty lousy recordings in my videos as well. And some of the ones that get the most feedback are the ones, the quick recordings that I've done with my iPhone, where I just play the thing and you hear the hiss and the room and the reverb and everything on an iPhone that you're not getting good quality, but people are like, man, that sounds amazing, that's the sound that I hear in my head. And it's like I just wanted to do a quick video just to show the thing. And sometimes you're spending hours trying to tweak the sound and get it to sound right, and you don't get that much that much feedback from those videos, and so you never know. But I always like to hear what people think about the gear because often they can really give you a better idea of what to expect, Hey Dave, late to join. No problem, my friend. It's all good. It's all good. If any of you guys are new, man, please type in new in the comment section. I just want to know who's new here because there's a couple of unfamiliar names and stuff today. So Jeff Shield says, I ended up getting a Victory V30 Mark II. And Jeff, how do you like that amplifier? I was considering the Sheriff at one point. When I saw some of the videos, it sounded really, really nice. But I never actually pulled the trigger on it because it was coming from overseas and I wasn't able to try one locally anywhere. So I don't know. Gospel of Mark, I want to get a Mesa Fillmore 50. I'm telling you, Mark, I don't know, man. We're on the same channel. I ended up I was watching the video just the other day of the Fillmore 50 where Andy Timmons is with the guys from Mesa and playing the amp. And it does sound good, man. I gotta say, it does sound good. The thing is, I've tried many Mesa amplifiers, and for me, I ended up always selling them. And I realized that I'm not necessarily a Mesa guy. There's always, like, the frequencies of the Mesas are not like the Fenders. I like the Fenders. The Mesa is a little bit different, and, it depends what you're looking for. It really does. And for me, I think my Fender Supersonic scratches that itch. It's not exactly like the Fillmore. It's quite different, actually. But it gets you into that cleanish territory with that really nice reverb. You can get it to spank a little bit. And I did change the stock speaker in my amp. So it's at the point where I like it right now. But yeah, the Fillmore does definitely. It's an interesting amplifier for sure, man. And I think you'd be happy with it if you like the Mesa sound. Right now, the only thing I'd consider trading my amp, the Supersonic for here, is possibly a straight deluxe reverb. And a lot of people are like, why would you do that? The Supersonic sounds great. It's got the drive channel and everything. It does, but I don't usually use the drive channel from the amp. I usually use pedals. So for me, the deluxe, like a blackface deluxe reverb would probably be a nice thing for me. Just to be able to use all of the amplifier. Because I tend to go through the clean section of the amp anyway. But I'm happy with it so far. Has anyone used the Stompenberg FX online service from Thomann to test pedals online before you buy? I have not. I don't even know how that would work, but that's an interesting thing. I guess I would have to check that out. Interesting. Vox Guitar says lightning rarely strikes twice, but Marshalls do. More than twice, actually. Sometimes 4 or 5 times. Hey, Cohen, thank you for tuning in, my friend. Please do send some updated pictures, Cohen, if you can. Awesome, thank you. By the way, the ones that you did send already look fantastic. You're very talented in terms of building guitars, man. Frank says there's no return, but I still love the tubes. There's just something about pushing air, man. You know, tubes are tubes. There's always going to be. I mean, we're getting so close with the emulations now. I think it's getting really super close in terms of sound, but not necessarily feel. And you know, that's the whole package, right? Randy says, I'm very happy you still have the Supersonic. I have the 60 watt. Yeah, the 60 watt sounded great, but that's just too loud for me. So I ended up getting the lower wattage one, and I'm pretty happy with it. I think I'm going to uncover it today and play it through it a while. Just for, it's been a while. Gospel of Mark says, hey, Tony, don't change your videos. I like the discussion. Like hearing impressions. There's tons of channels where you can just hear a review. Thank you, man. I appreciate that. I do. I really do appreciate the input. It's great to hear some feedback like that. So Frank Rack is new. Yeah, I didn't recognize your name, Frank. Thank you for joining us. Hope you're going to be a regular tune-in viewer. We do these live streams on Sundays usually, and they're not usually every Sunday. It's not every Sunday back-to-back. Last week and this week was an exception because I had some free time. The next one is going to be in 2 weeks. So in case you're wondering, it's not going to be the next Sunday. It's going to be the Sunday after that. Take it easy, Vox Guitars Rock. Nice seeing you, and stay safe, eh? Tony, what are your favorite 12-inch cab speakers, just in case I consider upgrading my speakers or even worth swapping? Bugera V22, love the sound as is, but wondering if I can kick it up a bit. The ones that I really like like for a Marshall tone is the ET65s. That's what I have in my 412 cabinet, the Celestion ET65s. They're not that easy to find. These are the original ones from England. I got lucky and I got a cabinet that had 4 of them inside. The guy didn't know what he was selling, and I basically bought the entire cabinet with the 4 speakers for like $400. Whereas today, I think just one speakers, I've seen them selling for like $225 or $250 per speaker. So those are the ones that I like the best. If you can get your hands on the originals, great. If you can't, the Guitar Warehouse speakers make a copy, a clone. Doesn't sound like the originals, but it gets you in the ballpark. It really does. So that's an option if you want to try and upgrade. They're not going to be as expensive. Thank you, Richard. I appreciate it. Solid State has come a long way. Love my Boss Katana artist. Don't use the software, though. Yeah, the Solid State has come a long way for sure. Fat Philosopher says, just got a notification that Addicted to Gear is live. I don't know what's going on with these notifications, but that's probably why, excuse me, that's probably why we're not getting, more people tuning in, because they get the notifications after the event is finished. So, I don't know. It's odd. Strange. Cool Tunes Made Easy. Also, Tony, my 212 Blackstar 7080 speaker with open back. Wondering if it's worth upgrading. I would say yes. I would say try. I mean, if you're getting, again, the ET65 would probably be a really nice speaker to put in your Blackstar. Not that the 7080 is bad, but I do think the ET65 will sound bigger, more natural, less nasally, or less boxy. How does the Vega Trem compare to a Floyd? I don't usually, I mean, a lot of times people will ask that question and they'll say, they'll compare it to Floyd because that's what they know. I wouldn't say it's the same. I mean, a Floyd is definitely a locking system. You have the lock here, where the Vega Trem, you don't have that lock. So it's not a locking system. Very different, okay? But I mean, it's basically a replacement for stock trims. And the advantage of the Vega Trem is that you can drop it in, typically, into the cavity that's already there. You don't have to do any additional routing. And you can always use, in the case where you have the 6 screws that are holding your bridge, you can actually put them into the same screw hole. So you don't have to damage your top. It's completely reversible. So you're not changing anything on your guitar. Whereas if you try to drop a Floyd into a different type of guitar, sometimes you have to actually make the cavity or the opening larger. That is the advantage. So it really is a drop-in replacement for these type of bridges. And the advantage is also, as I mentioned, like a bridge like this, I can't pull up. It's eventually going to hit the top of the body. Whereas the Vega Trem fits into the hole, so it's actually floating, and you can actually pull up all the way and, dive bomb. So it gives you the range that a Floyd has, if you have, the back of the Floyds routed out so you can pull up. It gives you that kind of range, okay? But it still is not a locking system. So, it's not going to hold the tuning as well as a Floyd because the fact that you're locking it in place. So you have to keep that in mind, So if you're buying it thinking it's going to be better than a Floyd, Floyds are different. I don't know if that answers your question, but I hope it does. Tony, the modeler to beat is now the Neural DSP Quad Cortex. Yes, reviewers that own Kempers and Axe Effects are already putting it up beside these two, and it's winning. Yeah, I know. And if the price is less expensive, it's great to have competition, and I'd love to get one to see what it can do. But the processing power in these little devices are getting crazy. I mean, they're rivaling what you have in your laptop these days. So that's why the sounds are getting so good. Eventually, I'd love to try one. Jeff says the V30 is great, sounds great, very versatile. 5 drive sounds from the amp just with the foot switches. I already had the Sheriff 22. Yeah, I know I've got a problem. So you prefer the V30 over the 22. I'm just curious why. What's the difference there? Is it just that you were looking for more gain? you were looking for more flexibility. What was it? Seth says the Mesa Nomad 55 does everything. And Mesa has made a lot of great sounding amplifiers over the years. There was also, I think, one that was called the Road King, which also was quite impressive also. The thing is, they discontinue the lines very quickly. And then you're kind of, you're holding on to something that's been discontinued. Not like Fender. I mean, Fender, they reissue the old stuff, so you can always buy the Princetons and the Deluxes and whatnot. They just keep selling them for years and years, where Mesa kind of, at a certain point, discontinues the stuff and puts out something completely new. Strat 5150 says, I decided to go with a used Helix LT. I figured I can get every tone I will ever need from it for $900. I mean, the Helix, a lot of people love the Helix. I've tried it. I've tried the Helix. It sounded good. It really depends on what you're trying to get out of it. I don't know if it applies for everyone in terms of what you're trying to do, but a lot of times, like if you're just playing at home, beautiful. You have access to all the different sounds. You don't have to worry about patch cables or batteries or power supplies or noise. Everything's in one little unit you can put on your desk and basically record and create some really nice sounding stuff. Jeff says, great amps, the Katana, the Next Tone are great as well. Yep. Darwin is asking me, is the top on the Suhr a veneer or a slab of flame maple? Looks nice, and I would expect it's a slab since it's a Suhr. Yeah, this is not a veneer. This is a slab. You can see what they do here. They actually I guess scrape away the paint and reveal some of the top. It's definitely the guitar. This guitar, the body is actually a combination of maple. And the body itself, the bulk of it is basswood. So maple top, basswood body. This is something that that John Suhr has referred to as the Holy Grail in terms of tone. Now I don't know if that's true or not, but it sounds good to me. Spanking. Actually, I'm playing it through this little MG300. And I don't have my my bar tightened. There's a little Allen key. You can actually screw this in and pull it out this way, but I don't have it screwed in completely. And there's also an additional Allen key that you can actually use to keep the bar where you want it to be. Anyways, it's probably not coming across too well through the microphone here, but eventually I'm going to try to get some sort of a system here so I can actually play and get the sounds coming through the unit clear so you guys can hear properly. I don't know how to do it. I've tried different methods. Maybe if you guys can help me out, if any of you guys are more into the technology. I've tried. The problem is the software that I'm using will only allow for one USB signal to come through. So once I have the microphone plugged in, I can't use an alternate, it's not a multi-channel thing. It's one channel. So what I tried to do was I tried to get a mixer at one point, but that mixer was supposed to be a USB mixer, but it didn't really work well. And I tried going through the unit, through the mixer to try and get the sound coming in so you can get the voice and the sound, and it didn't work. It didn't sound good for whatever reasons. And then I tried using my Zoom H5 because this also can work as an interface, and even that wasn't working properly. So I don't know if it's the limitation of the software or what, but It's a shame that I just can't get the sound in the software the way I want it to be. So maybe I need a more recent USB mixer or something like that so I can get that in. I wish I could speak to Steve from Boston, because he's got it nailed. I mean, he goes through his software, and you know, it just sounds so good on his side. People always love his sound, and I gotta try and get that kind of setup going for me. But I haven't figured it out yet. So Jeff says, more flexibility with the V30. The Sheriff is a great Marshall style amp, but breaks up early. I'm planning to keep both. Yeah, man, keep both for sure. Seth is working on a project while he's tuned in. That's great, man. What kind of project are you working on? Tony, will any overdrive tighten a metal tone or just a tube screamer? Well, you don't want to oversaturate a distorted tone with another distorted pedal. So that's why the tube screamers work so well. They just tighten up the bottom end a little bit. So yeah, a drive pedal would probably work better in those instances without necessarily bringing up the drive too much. So leave the drive low and just playing with the tone a little bit. You could also do the same with a good EQ pedal and just tighten up the bass a little bit and make the bass less flubby, you know, so it cuts through better. I think everybody should have an EQ pedal on their board. Thank you, Fat Philosopher. Fat Philosopher saying hit the like button. Appreciate that. How are you liking the Jared James Nichols Black Star? Will you make a demo of it? That always comes up. Yeah, I will make a demo of it for sure. I haven't made a real demo of the Dirty Shirley. Haven't really made a lot of demos. Even the Brunetti amp, I haven't really made a real demo of it. I should. But I have put video clips on my Instagram where I'm playing through the Jared James Nichols amp. The ones that you hear, I think there's a few right now. There's one where I'm playing a clip of Smoke on the Water. There's another one where I'm playing, I forget what I'm playing. Maybe I think a Led Zeppelin song with my Telecaster back there. And there's another one. And those are all through the Jared James Nichols Black Star. I think it's a great amplifier. I think if you want to get that Marshall sound in a lower wattage combo amp that's easier to carry, definitely gives you that. And it definitely, if you play through the clean channel, it gives you enough bite to get that classic rock tone. A lot of people don't like the Black Stars because of the HTs. And a lot of them, I agree, sound a little bit too like muffled. They don't cut enough in the mix. I agree. But this one is voiced different. You know, it looks a lot like the HT if you look at the setup, but it doesn't sound like it. So whatever they did, I think it sounds great. And I haven't modified it. I haven't changed the speaker on it or anything. So the only thing I don't like about the amplifier is the actual foot switch. It's made of plastic. Like they could have at least gave you something that was made of metal that wouldn't break as easily, but it's plastic, you know. Paul says, I'm big on getting my own sound as I'm all about original material and presenting the whole package. For a hobby or commercial music, it's ideal. I use 82 pedals and 9 guitars live. So yeah, you definitely have to have a great understanding of sound when you're going through a lot of gear like that and different guitars as well. I mean, you have to be able to control the sound. I mean, of course. Which Telecaster is that in the thumbnail? In the thumbnail? I don't know which one you're talking about. Just tell me which thumbnail you're referring to. I'm not really sure which one you're seeing there. How many different tones do you use in a week or month? I find I stay with 4 or 5, even though My modeler will support about 100. You know, Dave, it really depends what kind of music you're playing. If you're just playing at home, you typically will probably just, you know, an amplifier going, a guitar going into an amplifier with a drive pedal is going to be fine. If you're playing in a cover band, then you need a lot more variation, and that's where I usually use a lot of my sounds. Is where when I play with the band live, because we're playing different songs. So you do have to have a good EQ, a pedal on your board, you know, a delay. I've been playing with a nice delay pedal, which I also have to do a review on. It's the Duo Time from Nuex. This guy. It's really cool. I mean, you can get some really creative delays out of this thing, because it's like using two delay pedals at one time. So you can mix them. You can get a lot of those like sounds like U2 and the Edge, you know, when you're going from one delay into another delay. It's a lot of fun. So I have to do a video on that one as well very soon. Have you ever tried a J Tercer Strat copy? I just picked one up for $100. It has a quilted maple top and gold hardware. Heard they were very decent copies for not a lot of money. Think mine is a 300 QMT. Quilted maple top. Yeah, I did have I worked on one for a friend of mine's son recently, because he wanted to get his son a guitar and he ended up getting him that one. I set it up nicely for him and it's fine. I mean, the guitar is a great starter guitar. I mean, the pickups obviously can be upgraded, and the hardware, it's budget hardware. When the guitar costs $100, you can't expect the hardware to be fantastic. But it's a great starter guitar, and if it's set up properly, it'll do the job. Rico says, I bought my first Esquire. How do you like it, man? Congratulations. Cristiano says, do you think that do-it-yourself pedal clones turn out okay compared to the real thing, or is it just better to buy regular ones you find on the market? So are you referring to do-it-yourself pedals that you build yourself, or are you referring to clones that are basically emulating other pedals? Trinity says the blue color Telecaster with flames. Bruce Brooks says, sorry I'm late, but I brought a note from home. Next time you're late, Bruce, you got to bring Timbits, okay? For everyone. Just kidding, my friend. It's all good. Cool Tunes Made Easy says, Tony, my nephew is a drummer and recording engineer, and you can message him on my behalf and find out the best option to help record. Hey, that's sweet of you, man. Really nice. Music First Productions. He's on Instagram and maybe YouTube. Awesome. I'll check him out. Thank you. Much appreciated. I'm sure I will eventually figure it out, but I'm pretty sure I need some other mixer, just to be able to get the sound through. Seth says, Stratocaster build, Counting Crows, promotional Squire. I'm making it sick. It's going to be a signed pickguard. Nice. Send me some pictures once you're done, man. I'd love to see it. Just email me some pictures. I always love seeing pictures of builds. Gives me some great ideas too. Jeff says, have a chat with Shane at In the Blues about recording and live stream sounds. He seems to have nailed it. Also, Jonathan Coe and Pete John get some good sound on their channels. They do. I know Jonathan and Shane as well, and but they have like pretty expensive equipment set up there, which I don't necessarily want to spend. I'm very frugal that way, but I guess I'm gonna try to find like the budget solution that'll do the job. I might even just go to software like Steve from Boston does. I mean, he goes through, I think it's one of the software packages that he uses. So it's all software, but you do have to have a decent CPU power so it doesn't slow everything down. I'm working on a laptop, and if the CPU is not powerful enough, you're gonna get laggy and it's gonna cause issues. But yeah, that's probably the way to do it. Ed says, have you ever checked out the Joyo Sweet Baby? It's supposed to be a Mad Professor Sweet Honey clone. Yes, I did actually. I had it for a while. I don't think I have it anymore. I liked it. I think it sounded very nice. And for the money, you can't really beat it. In terms of quality control, I mean, I don't know how long these pedals will last, but definitely well worth the money. I often get criticized because I do sometimes show clones of different types of pedals. I had a King of Tone clone that I did a review on, and we all know that that pedal is like extremely expensive. There's a wait time of I think a couple of years on that pedal, and I thought it sounded great, man. I got that pedal for not too much money, and you know, there's always two kinds of people. The type of people that have purchased the original and spent a lot of money and really love it, and I'm not going to tell you what to do with your cash. You're all adults. You can spend it as you will. And I understand when you spend that much money on the original and you are really critical about tone, you want people to understand that there is a difference. But honestly, a lot of people that will buy the clone are going to be happy with it, you know, and it's going to get you like 80, 90% of the way there. And like I always say, once the drummer kicks in, what's the difference, right? So to spend like $800 or $1,000 on a pedal and to wait 3 years to get it, to me doesn't make any sense. You know, there's two things I don't like to wait for: food and gear. That's just me. Yeah, so the do-it-yourself kits, Cristiano, it's really a question of how good you are at working with electronics. I've built 3 or 4 do-it-yourself clones. One of them was my favorite for a long time, and I still have it, and actually blew the Wampler that I had on my board off of my board. But again, you have to know what you're doing, and if you mess it up, you're not going to get a good sound. So sometimes people might diss the do-it-yourself kits, but that's probably because they've done something wrong along the way and it doesn't sound the way it should. The good thing is that some of these companies will actually build it for you. So if you're not sure how to build it, you can actually contact them, pay a little bit more, have them build it for you. And then you have like a really great sounding pedal. But it's up to you. I mean, it really is a question of whether you're just building them because you like to build these things. You like to enjoy, it's like building a model. If you guys enjoy building model airplanes and cars as a kid, you might like to build your own amps, your own pedals. If you have the ability and you know what you're doing. I built it just to see if I was able to build it. I built a really simple fuzz phase circuit at one point. It worked well, but I don't really like fuzz, so I ended up selling it. And I also, the drive pedal that I built was the Brown Sound in a Box 2 by General Guitar Gadgets. Sounded fantastic. I love that particular pedal. I was even considering getting another one as a backup. The great thing about these do-it-yourself pedals is that if anything breaks on it, you can usually fix it because it's not mounted on a board and it's not like micro soldered. Like some of these components on these Chinese pedals are so small that you can't really fix them. So that's not the case with these, and you can always repair them, right? I think the biggest challenge with some of these pedals is just doing a clean job so that you don't get additional noise. Hey Joe, nice to see you, man. Timbits equals balls of sugar. Yeah, exactly. So what's wrong with that? You make it sound like it's a bad thing. Thank you, Joe. I'm glad you enjoyed the hangout. Hey, Mike. What's up, Tony? Always enjoy hanging out here. Nice to see you here, Mike. Jeff says, haha, King of Tone wait is like 3.5 years. I put my name on the list in January. Yeah, it's crazy how long it is, man. You know, I could. The only thing that I ever signed up for and was a waiting list that was near, you know, anything near that waiting list was getting my kids into daycare. And I think when I put my son on the waiting list for daycare, I think he was like in second or third grade by the time they contacted us. So it was a little late. Mike says, a famous man once said, nothing is certain except death and taxes. Another famous man once said, never wait for food or gear. Always listen to the man with the glasses. That's all I'm saying. Another famous man said that too. Paul says, even the King of Tone is based on a blues breaker pedal. That's right. And there's only 5 basic schematics to make a dirt pedal. You can use 2-in-1 pedals, but there is not an original pedal made in this century. Exactly, man. Everything's based on something else. Amps are like that, pedals are like that, and most guitars are like that too. So, you know, what's old is new again sometimes, and people get their panties in a bunch for whatever reasons when we talk about these things. I don't know. I mean, I'm open to anything as long as it sounds good, you know. It's just the way I am. I mean, why would I diss something that I can get for way less and, you know, for me sounds great? I mean, if it doesn't sound good for you, that's fine. That's not a problem. It's not a competition. I mean, if it sounds good to you, it's good. You know, that's how I look at things. I don't really, I'm not in it to compete with you guys. I'm just in it because I want to share what I think sounds good. If you guys have the same opinion, fantastic. If you don't, that's okay too. Like I said, I'm not going to tell you guys how to spend your money. One of the things I wanted to share with you, you know, we brought up famous sayings. I actually came across something recently from Brunetti. I'm just trying to get the edge of breakup. Some of them, some of the patches you can get that. I gotta say, the MG300, man, if it wasn't for the outputs and the limitations on the outputs, I'd love this thing. I know the new one is out, the MG330. I'm trying to get one, but I think they just came out, so it's kind of hard to get one still. But I'd love to get one because it actually has the proper outputs now, made of metal, and I think they upgraded some of the sounds and the way the patches work. That's going to be something I'm going to get for sure. Isn't the Prince of Tone readily available? I don't think so. I'm talking about the King of Tone. The Prince of Tone, who knows, maybe, but is it? I don't think it's exactly the same, right? I'm not really sure. I mean, I don't know the availability of all the pedals out there. Sorry, what I was saying earlier before I got distracted. I came across a really nice post on Instagram from Brunetti Amplifiers, and I'm a big fan of their amps. I'm a big fan of Sam Villo. If you don't know who Sam is, he does like a lot of just playing videos. He never speaks in his videos, and he just plays his amplifiers. He's got great tone, and he's a big ambassador for Brunetti. And he has the Plexi Man like I have. And he's the one who can, like, his videos convinced me to get the Plexi Man. But he's got great tone in his fingers. So I often follow Brunetti on my Instagram feed. And I came across something today that I wanted to share because I thought it was a very well said, heartfelt comment from them. And, what they were saying is... An amp can do nothing with silence, and the silence is deafening. We need to go back to music. We need to go back to feeling the vibration of 1,000 hearts exploding with joy. As we want life, we want noise, no more silence. You know, I thought that was a very, very well said quote there from Brunetti. I think everybody's feeling the same way, right? We all need to be together. We all need to be at a concert enjoying music and loud volume and tone and gear and guitars. And I think all of us can't wait for that day to come. So, you know, I think, you know, if we keep that in mind today going forward, I think that it's going to encourage us to know that those days are coming, guys. Don't despair, because we're going to get there. So guys, with that thought, I think I'm going to wrap it up for today. I promised I would only be on for an hour. I gave you guys an extra 40 minutes babbling time. So I'm glad you guys stuck around with me through the entire thing. Please give me a thumbs up if you like these Sunday shows and you want me to continue doing them. Please let me know by giving me some thumbs up. Share if you can. If you haven't subscribed because you're new, please subscribe. Hit the bell icon as well, because then you'll be notified of the videos that I do during the week whenever I review some gear. And obviously follow me on Instagram, because I always post other additional sound clips, some behind the scenes stuff of how my builds are coming, or, you know, little teaser shots of what's going to be coming on the show. You can often get it on Instagram. And if you want to grab some swag and support the channel, I do appreciate that. It helps me buy the gear that I need to get these things done, or pay for the subscriptions that I use for the software whenever I put these things live. Every little bit helps. So if you want to grab some swag, you can get that at the bottom of my videos. You can see there's cups there, there's stickers, there's shirts. Some of you have done so already, and I appreciate that. I really do. And, you know, all I can say, guys, if you watch the videos, please comment so I know that you guys like the stuff that I'm reviewing. If you have any suggestions for gear that you would like me to check out, if I can, I will. So please give me your suggestions. And don't hesitate to contact me if you have any specific questions, because I always would answer your questions, all right? So, you know, I'm always trying to answer everyone's questions as much as I can. So that's it for now, guys. Thank you so much. Thank you for tuning in. I'm giving you guys a big thumbs up as well. And I'll be posting this video out today. So if you didn't have time to watch the entire thing, just tune in and watch the parts that you've missed. All right. That's it for now, guys. See you in 2 Sundays from now, and we'll continue our conversations. See you soon.